Assalamu alaikum, peace be unto you. Welcome to the nighttime edition of Connect the Dots. I'm your host, Brother Abdul Halim Muhammad. I serve as a Southwest Regional Minister of the Nation of Islam under the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I wish uh, to greet all of you in the viewing and listening audience with a blessed Ramadan, a Ramadan Mubarak. This nighttime edition of Connect the Dots is part two of relationships talks. We're going to have our sister author, Katrina Muhammad, along with the editor, Karai Muhammad, and of course, the brother from my other mother, even though he went to Howard University, I still love him. He went to that other HU. I'm talking about my brother, my fellow companion in the ministry, student minister Jamil Muhammad, who wrote the foreword to it. We also have a very special guest family that's coming on as we're going to be discussing relationship talks. But we got the Muhammad family. We have Tim and LaShonda, and their children are coming on tonight. They're staying up a little extra late after eating or after iftar so they can be with us tonight so they can discuss with you and explain to you the impact that this great work, this literary work done by Sister Katrina, who just started off very innocently, seeking to ask the right questions to get the right answers to how she could have a more positive relationship after unfortunate, tragic divorce. These questions began to build up in such a way, in a fashion, that it was suggested to her by her good friend, why don't you make this into a book? So it wasn't 5 questions. It wasn't 6 questions. It wasn't 10. It wasn't 100. It turned out to be over 2,000 questions on relationships. And so, brothers and sisters, this very important time that we're in, I say to all, we first and foremost want to say how happy we are for the Floyd family, knowing how much that they've suffered over this last year at the loss of Big Floyd, as he's known here in Houston, from the Third Ward, Yates High School, famous Yates High School. We know how happy they are to have some semblance of accountability, if not total justice, because nothing will bring Big Floyd back. But we're happy for them. We're happy for those in the Third Ward and those of Yates High School who played ball with Floyd and knew Floyd, that you have at least a semblance of accountability and justice. But we will never rest, because 2015, the 20th anniversary of the historic Million Man March, the theme was justice or else. And justice is something a lot larger than one policeman being convicted for the brutal murder of a black man. It's more than that. And we don't put it past this wicked system, as the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad told his chief helper and student, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. He said, brother, you cannot phantom measure the depths of Satan. So we don't put it past them that they will throw one of their own under the bus to keep the cities of America from burning down and to keep us asleep. So I say to the young people who marched, I say to all who got out there, regardless of creed, class, or color, to fight for justice for Big Floyd, for Breonna Taylor, and for all of those who have suffered from police brutality and misconduct. We also applaud you and what you have done. But we also want to remind each and every one of you that the Million Man March is a result of, first of all, Minister Farrakhan beginning a tour of Stop the Killing, so that we would stop the inner city fratricide that was going on among black people that would lead to and cause and allow our open enemy to have an excuse to slaughter us all. And that morphed into a men's only meeting. And it built up to the historic Million Man March, where we had nearly 2 million brothers gather in peace for 16 hours without a fight, without an arrest in Washington, D.C. on October 16, 1995. So our theme tonight in Relationship Talks really revolves around Ramadan in one sense, because we're going to be discussing food and diet and travel and how that ties into relationships. And then we're going to be talking about family and friends, because since we've all been under this pandemic on lockdown, we've been living with people that we didn't know we were living with, because we've been forced to shelter in place. And I'll say to everybody, I've been this May 23rd, I will have been married. We will have been married 40 years. People applaud, but not me. Nope, don't clap. Don't applaud. Don't give me no thumbs up. Don't give me no likes. None of that. Because the truth of the matter is, I really only been married a year since the pandemic. Because the person that I was married to, I really didn't know, and she didn't know me until we had to live with one another and not like pass like ships in the night and ships in the day. We had an opportunity to begin to learn one another, because you can't love without knowledge. And when you begin to know somebody, how they evolved since their college days and through the children that she bore for me and raised, and seeing our children go to college, and now we're empty nesters. I'm still on the grind for the resurrection. But in truth, she is retired and doing her quilt work. And now we have a time to sit and to talk about things and to talk about our grandchildren and other things. Very interesting. So let us bring to the Connect the Dots Nighttime Edition. Of course, first of all, our author, Sister Katrina Muhammad, present to some and introduce to others. She is the author, and she's written the book, Relationship Talks, a guide to meaningful conversation to couples in courtship, engagement, and marriage. She wrote the book to assist in creating healthy dialogue between couples in courtship and considering marriage. She's a saleswoman, an entrepreneur, if you will. She's a multi-talented genius, in my opinion.
Oh,
and yes, all praise is due to Allah, but I got to call it like I see it, sister. She, of course, is a graduate of Spelman College and the ATL college system, but she hails from the D, Detroit.
Right.
So she may have you may appear to think she has a bougie edge on her, but she from Detroit. They all hard there. Trust and believe that. All praises due to Allah.
All praises due to Allah.
But
Assalamu alaikum and Ramadan.
Wa alaikum salam. And Ramadan Kareem, sister. I'm going to bring in our other co-contributors. I'm going to now bring in, of course, Sister Karai Muhammad, who is the editor of said book. And Sister Karai Muhammad is an award-winning television journalist. She's been honored by the Associated Press, National Academy of Television and Arts and Sciences, National Association of Black Journalists, the Peabody Awards, the Alfred I. DuPont Columbia University Award. She's been a producer with CNN. This is CNN. And had a career in news for 30 years. She actually is a mass media arts genius. And she, I can't pay her enough to be a consultant for Connect the Dots, but I'm working on it. Maybe she'll give me a discount on that. But I want to welcome her back also to the program.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam and Ramadan Mubarak.
Ramadan Kareem.
And last but not least, I want to bring to these sacred airwaves my brother, your brother, my friend, my companion, Brother Jamil Muhammad, student minister of the Nation of Islam. He's been a minister in New Orleans. He's been a minister in Atlanta. He's been a minister in the little mosque, Mosque number 6 in Baltimore. I mean, he has traveled this country from end to end with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. He has done a magnificent job in representing the minister in not only word but in deed, and he has been so helpful as you see him and know him as the fundraising machine that comes on. But it's more than that, because you have to have a gift at doing it. You have to have a proclivity for being one who has a leaning towards understanding what would make people want to desire and sacrifice beyond their own means for something bigger than themselves. And I thank God that God has given him that gift. I thank God for his parents and the fights that they led in Cincinnati as he was raised up, that fed the soul of he and his blessed sister. May Allah forever be pleased with Sister Sharifa, because they both have been part of the struggle of helping the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan in rebuilding this mighty nation of Islam. So we're going to talk to this crew for just a minute. Then we're going to bring in Tim and LaShonda and her children, and his and her children, to talk about this relationship talk book. But Sister Katrina, why don't you give our listening and viewing audience a little background on it? And I want to encourage all of you who are tuning in via social media that if you have questions for Sister Katrina or Sister Karai or Brother Jamil or Tim and LaShonda and their children, as they come on and talk about the impact of this book, please put it in the comment section, and we surely will answer those questions or any comments that you may have. Sister Katrina, the floor is yours.
All praises due to Allah. First of all, thank you so much for inviting us again on your beautiful show, Connect the Dots. I'm so excited to talk about this book, and especially to have our special guest, the Muhammad family, on, because what they're doing is like they're taking this to the next level that I hadn't even imagined when I wrote the book. And then, of course, to be on the panel with two people that I love very dearly, because they helped me with this project in terms of really bringing it to life, which is Sister Karai Muhammad, the editor, and Brother Student Minister Jamil Muhammad, the forward writer. I definitely think that their talent, all of everything Allah put in them, it was meant to be for me to be working with the two of them and to produce this book together. So I'm so grateful to be on this panel with them as well. Essentially, brother, my background is as a teacher. I was an educator for many years, and then currently I'm teaching doctors. I teach surgeons how to do specific surgeries in the body, specifically the foot and ankle. And that type of career is very technical. It's very precise. And I think my background being a teacher and also working in the sciences really contributed to what this book is. So it is meticulous. It is very detailed. People ask me if I have a law background. I did go to law school briefly. I didn't complete, but you can see some of that, I think, in the book, because really we're just trying to get to the most important questions: the who, the what, the when, the where, and most importantly, the why. I think that's the most important question of all, because to look at somebody who's made certain decisions in their life, you don't really know or understand why they made those decisions. And knowing why they made those decisions really helps frame the picture. The minister talked about that in terms of asking why, and why being one of the most important questions. And he is, of course, so wise. So I included in the book quotes of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan throughout the book that come from various different lectures he's given. I lifted words and quoted. So I really want the readers to not just read my words in terms of the questions, but to go back as a couple and watch those videos together. I have a chapter in the back called Supplemental Reading. There are a total of around 12 chapters. I think that's one of the most important chapters in the book, because it's not really talking about this book, my book. It's highlighting other books that couples can read together. You can learn a lot about a person by just reading with them. So I'm encouraging couples to do that. Essentially, this book is broken down into various chapters that really reflect life and what couples what they experience in life, their past, their present, and of course, what they envision as their future. It's very important to discuss that. And in your opening, And I'll say this in my closing. In your opening, when you talked about you and your wife and how you have 40 years, but really it's the first year because you went through COVID together and it's something different. That's profound that you said that because that is the truth. That's reality. And a marriage goes through so many different stages. And now you and your wife, as empty nesters, and your wife being retired, the two of you are now entering in a whole new stage of your partnership, of your marriage. And so there are plenty of questions in Relationship Talk book about that stage of life as well. Because people, they grow, they change, they have different interests, and you always have to stay connected. So all praises due to Allah for you and your wife being able to do that and to recognize that you are entering a new phase in your marriage, a new growth, right? And then you're connecting with one another and respecting that new growth. That's beautiful. But that's what this book is about. It's about families. It's about giving couples an opportunity to have meaningful dialogue and conversation. That's really what it's about. So there are no answers in this book. There are only, like you said earlier, over 2,000 plus questions.
So, Brother Jamil, you know, I feel like Rod Sterling standing off in the corner after a scene in the beginning of The Twilight Zone. I don't smoke cigarettes anymore, but sitting there with a cigarette said, you know, your next stop, The Twilight Zone. Because I really feel like after reading these questions and then pondering them in my own head, by the time I finished, I was in the Twilight Zone. But what zone were you in when you wrote the foreword to this book? Because you had to read the manuscript in order to get, you know, as the young people are, a flavor of what Sister was trying to communicate. And you have, again, you have this ability to reach not only the streets, but the suites. It's just the gift that God has given you. And as Sister Katrina is, I really didn't do justice in my introduction, so I'm glad she reintroduced herself to the audience, because she is a very concise, precise sister, and that probably, if I read into why she asked these questions, she want to make sure that the next time that she connected the dots with a brother, that them dots really added up to the right kind of picture.
Right.
Exactly.
But tell us about that zone.
Well said, brother. Well said.
Tell us about that zone, that Twilight Zone, brother, that you were in after reading that caused you to write such a profound forward. I mean, when I read the forward, I said, "Is this Brother Jamil?" But you already got half of Webster's dictionary. I don't know where you carry it around, brother. Some of the stuff, I don't know how you do that on a phone, messing with these people, arguing with them in social media, brother. You know, I'm about to hire you to be my social media executive, brother. But go ahead. On the serious though, reading the sister's book, knowing family, how important it is to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, as he said that family second only to Allah. He gave it in this hierarchy: Allah, family, nation. And you and I know we've been on the road for our nation, brother, and sometimes we've ignored that second aspect of our lives. We put some things before the other, and he's probably, as he spanked you like he spanked me, and said, I wish my ministers would listen to me and follow and know what I did. The messenger gave him a special thing. He said, brother, don't worry about your family. Allah will take care of them. And in his latter years, the minister pulled his family closer, and he eats dinner with them, and and it's a whole different dynamic than it was when he was out building the nation and rebuilding the nation, doing evangelism, as you and I have witnessed up front. But brother, what effect did this book have on you that made you write this profound forward that you did?
I want to thank you for the question, because as you're posing it, I'm thinking of the answer, and it's not a long, complicated answer. I had to bear witness to the truth when the truth was presented to me. Not the truth of the answers, because as Sister Katrina just pointed out to us, the book doesn't contain answers. But the truth of the matter is that these are the questions that have to be asked. The truth of the matter is that the book contains questions that will allow anyone at any stage of courtship, engagement, marriage, recommitment, reconnection, it will allow anyone at any stage of that process to involve themselves in the process in such a way that they can win. See, sometimes when you've lost before, there's a record by Walter Beasley, the great Boston saxophonist, called If You've Ever Loved Someone and Lost. Y'all look that up, you're going to enjoy it. But sometimes when you lose, you start feeling like a loser. But I remember it said if you lose, it doesn't necessarily mean you're a loser. Doesn't mean that. If you fail, it doesn't mean you're a failure. But if you quit, you are a quitter. And that is the mark of a problem. So being not a quitter, I said, okay, let me see what I'm going to have to do. I read the manuscript, and Sister Katrina sent it to me, and I read it. And I don't think she expected me to read it in one day, but I did. And I called her late in the evening and said, wait a minute, where'd you get this stuff? How did this happen? And she explained to me what she explained to you, Brother Minister. And I said, why do you want me to write the foreword? That was important to me because I didn't want to risk the credibility of her project with the somewhat checkered experience of my life. And so I asked her that question directly. She said, you're an honest man. You tell the truth. And as a Black man, you're open about needing and wanting to understand this aspect of your life. That's what moved my pen across the paper.
Wow.
That's what motivated my thinking. That's what inspired my expression. And so it was a significant thing because if Sister Katrina has a problem, and I heard you say she's concise and precise, but if Sister Katrina has any problem that I see, it's having so much information to compress into limited formats. She has to have that information expressed in books and on talk shows, and sometimes the show is only 20 minutes or 30 minutes or whatever, but she has to compress it because Allah has gifted her with an enormous amount, a veritable cornucopia of information that is coming from her wonderful mind. And so, yes, I'm honored to have written the foreword. I hope it does indicate to a shopper, hey, maybe I should read this book, because you should. I am, and I'm digging into it right now. I don't care where you are. You could be in Los Angeles, Chicago. You could be in New York City. I don't care if you're in Tumbleweed, Texas. You need this book, and you need to put it in motion.
Well, I'm happy also to bring to these sacred airwaves of the people, not to abuse your ears or your eyes, one who I very much respect for her media arts acumen. And she's another one that is concise and precise. And when she get after you, it's like, it's like Terminator. She looks through the phone book for all the Abdul Halim Muhammads, and she hunts us all down, brother, till she finds the right one. But really, I say that because in order to be successful, you have to have a drive.
That's right.
And Allah is called in the Holy Quran, Rabbil Alameen. He's the nourisher and sustainer unto perfection. So we have to be constantly going through a revolution and the evolution of revolution in order to become the person that we desire to be and to help others to become that. I'm grateful to Allah for my interactions and my introduction to Sister Karai Muhammad, who worked for CNN for many years. And for those of you who don't know, my experience in media comes from being a very young boy growing up in New York, and a Jewish man by the name who really adopted me and my family. He was married to a Presbyterian woman named Betty. His name was Harvey. But he was a Jewish man, but they were very liberal and growing up in them 60s. But they took me under their wing. And I tell you, Karai, what he did was he took me down to WABC television studio where Dark Shadows was filmed.
Yeah.
Now, if you ever came home in the afternoon, Dark Shadows, Barnabas Collins,
Yes.
you did not want to watch TV. You did not want to turn on the TV, even though it was broad daylight in the afternoon, because Dark Shadows was on. You were scared as hell. Man, I went in there and I saw the fake cobwebs and the fake castle and all that stuff, and it reminded me of the Munsters with Zombo. You remember Zombo, Jamil? We said Zombo's a fake. Zombo's a fake. It was his favorite ghoul on television. I really realized that all of this was illusion. Cut and paste illusion. And so for me, I understood from an early age what goes on behind those cameras.
Mm-hmm.
But to have one from among us in our midst that worked for CNN and was recognized by her peers, and to be a producer of a program that still is on CNN regarding Africa, I'm happy to have you on, sister, as the editor of this work. Not only Brother Jamil bore witness to what made him do the forward, but what did you experience as you read the manuscript and you did the editing of it to bring it to publication?
Yes, sir. And again, just echoing what Sister Katrina said, thank you so very much for having the RT team on for a second time. And really, it's a testament to your audience that we are back. But it's been said, Sister Katrina did the heavy lifting in putting together this book. I mean, and I'm unfortunately in the same situation that my sister in. I am divorced, was married for 13 years, and I want to get remarried, but I want to make sure it happens in the right manner, and that is with the right person, and that I realize I made some mistakes. So she literally took what I was thinking and put it in book form. And so for as much as I was editing this, I was taking notes too and saying, okay, yeah, this is what I didn't ask. This question, this question right here. You know, so tonight we talked about that we were going to examine friends and family and food and diet. And somebody could easily say, food? Is that something that needs to be talked about? Guess what? I'm here to tell you, yes, it is. Like, I happen to be a vegetarian. If I am connecting with someone who is a staunch meat eater, who expected me to cook all manner of meat and barbecue for him, might have a little bit of a problem. But again, as they have said, there are no wrong answers. This is just food for thought. That's what our sister has given us. So this is an opportunity for us to show our growth and allow us to grow. Because first of all, you should go through, if you're not with someone, it says this is a guide to meaningful conversations for couples in courtship, engagement, and marriage. But this book works for someone who is not coupled off. Because quite frankly, there are a lot of questions in here that you would never even think of on your own because you don't think that that's an issue. But you have to go through and find out, what do I really think about these various issues? What are my deal breakers? What's important to me? Those things matter.
All right. So now what we want to do is we want to bring in our special guest for tonight. And this special guest family is Brother Tim and Sister Lashandra Muhammad. They've been married for more than 20 years. They have 4 children. Jesus, 7. Alyasa, 14. Saladin, 12. Siraj, 7. And despite their long history together, the Muhammads have found going through this book, Relationship Talks, eye-opening. And they say it has improved their relationship so much that they're now reading the book with their children. This family lives in Chicago, Illinois. Let's bring on that Muhammad family. Assalamu alaikum. So we want to thank you, Brother Tim and Sister Shonda, and your family for staying up. When we first tuned in off camera, y'all were all eating, so I hope nobody has the itis. But we wanted to get right into it. so that the children can get to bed and we can get up in the morning and make Fajr prayer. And those of us who are going to listen to the prayer line and not listen to the replay, we'll get up and listen to it. But let's go right at it. Brother Tim, Sister LaShondra, and then children, tell us, what did you get out of the book after 20 years of marriage? When did you pick it up, in your 19th year, your 18th year, or 19th year, going into the 20th, and you started reading it? What did you all get out of it, and why are you sharing it with your children? And I'd love to hear from them too.
Praise be to Allah. Sister LaShondra.
Oh, okay. So
Y'all speak up now so the audience can hear you. Go ahead.
this will be our 22nd year.
Can y'all hear us?
Yes, but speak up.
Yes, sir.
This will be our 22nd year of marriage on May 8th. And sometimes, honestly, after being married so long, you're looking for something, and you welcome something that will spice things up a bit. So when we got on the relationship talks, the Zoom calls that were sharing giving little snippets and questions, we had a good time.
It was good, yep. Yeah.
And we did come across questions that made us think and communicate better. So we loved it. And then we decided, hey, let's ask these questions with the children. And it was like a game. The children loved it. They enjoyed it. And so we continue doing it.
So, Brother Tim, I know you tossed to the queen, but come on with the king. Tell us what you got out of it, brother. Don't be afraid to let us know. Some of us brothers need encouragement.
Yes,
Somebody got to
sir.
jump into the water and tell us what it's like. Tell us what it's like, brother.
I thought everything was just fine. I mean, initially, before this book came out, I thought everything was going real well. I thought I was doing good. I was doing what I was supposed to. And I figured that's about enough. And then she talked about the book, and I'm like, okay, yeah. And then she kept mentioning the book. I'm like, all right. Then she says, the Sister from the Nation. I'm like, all right, all praise is due to Allah. And then we listening in on one of the calls, and I was very pleasantly surprised that there were quite a few things that came out that I had not thought about. And I figured I had thought about everything. For a man or me, just to think I got everything together, and that's just what it is. And there's a sense of security there that I don't need to do anything else. That's it. So, and I never really wanted to look at marriage like, you gotta work at it. I hear people say, you gotta work at it. What you make, you gotta work. I mean, who wanna just work, So I just figured we go somewhere every now and then, and I take care of this, everything will be all right. You want to go skating, then want to go do this, and then do that. Next thing you know, we at the salon, and then we're at the foodie spot, and then there's Sister Katrina, and there was a setup, and then another setup. And next thing you know, the children, they became interested, and they started answering the questions, and it was silly, but it made so much sense. Some of the things they were saying about the finances, about the money, and asking the questions, and do you want to know how many partners you're with? I'm like, look, the Quran said that if it was made known to you, and caused you all these problems. So let's just stick on some of the other stuff. So as a man, certain things we don't want to talk about, certain things we don't want to discuss, but it helps I can understand how going into the relationship, you may want to ask a lot of these questions. But some of the things as a married man, I've felt like, well, we'll do this part, but then, we'll hold off on this little part right here. That's just my honest opinion. But I think it's an excellent book, and I'm looking for more people to read this book. I need some books because, the people I talk to about it want the book.
All right. Well, that's good. Now let's hear from the children, because which one of the brave one of your children is going to jump out there and keep it 100.
They're going to keep it 100.
Keep it 100. Tell us what's going on. What did y'all think about the book?
I want to turn the knob now. What do you want to say, guys? No, they want you to ask them a question and they'll answer it. That'll help lead them.
Well, let me say this. When we did last night, we're doing the questions again. What was it last time? And Jesus, my 17-year-old,
That's Jesus.
he was so excited. He's like, Mom, I need this book. We only have one. He's like, Mom, I need this book.
We got two.
We have to?
I got
Oh. Oh, well then he said, and my husband was like, no, my brother, you got to get your own.
Like the old TV commercial.
Yeah.
He said, I want this book so I can talk to my friends and we can do a podcast off of this book. And so he got so excited. Jesus, what were some of the things the main things that you liked?
It's just the book itself, the
Okay.
idea.
What about the idea?
The idea of all these questions that nobody really thinks about, but these are questions that really need to be thought about and asked. I'm not saying for you to go on a first date and be like, hey, how many people you done slept with? I need to know that right to you, but like a lot of these really need to be thought about.
So
Praise
these,
be to Allah.
so these are things, Jesus, when you talk about your peers, your peer group, your age group, and they start them hormones jumping like a disco, and they start, you start getting attracted to the opposite sex. These are questions that you feel the young people should ask one another, or at least some of them that are decent and in order should be asked in order to know before you make that mistake and take this thing too far. It's not that we don't trust you, male and female together alone in a room. It's nature we don't trust.
That's right. That's right.
Anyone else? Any of the other children want to comment?
Oh, Yasha.
They want a question. They kind of.
All right. Any of my panelists want to ask the Muhammad family a question?
I have a question for them. So question number 33 in the family and friends.
There we go.
In what way are you like or not like your parents?
I like my dad.
Good question, Sister Karai.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead and answer.
Yeah. In what ways are you like or not like your parents? Is they good or bad?
I don't like whatever.
No,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Go ahead.
Big boy.
I don't really like I like money. I really like money. And I got that from my father.
Is that a good thing?
No.
Is that a bad thing? Okay, say it.
And I can't be with no broke.
Can't be with
You
no
can't
what?
be what? Say that again.
With a broke person.
A broke person.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
What
Okay.
about the love and all that?
Ain't nothing going on but the rent.
Okay.
So,
I'm mad at you, my sister. I'm not mad at you.
so I got a question. I got a question for the children out of family and friends. Question, children. Should married couples take a vacation together every year without the children?
Yes.
No, yes.
That's a good question.
That's good. All right, next week we can go to Vegas. Yeah.
What? You
Uh-huh.
can take him.
Yeah.
Oh boy, Brother Jamil, you got anything?
I was thinking, when Sister Karai asked question number 33, I heard something that Jesus said in his explanation of why he needed the book. And he was talking about a sample question about, and I'll phrase it this way, about the amorous history of a prospective courtmate, right? And when you ask those questions, I just want to say to everybody, be careful how you ask the questions. That's one of the things that Sister Katrina wrote in the various introductions to the chapters. There's a way to ask these questions. You don't just walk up and say, I like you, you cute, how many people you been with? That you can't just, you got to ease up on certain, you understand what I'm saying, Jesus? You got to ease up on those questions, right? You don't want to become too abrupt in the question of money and being with a broke person. You see, remember now, a woman named in history, Black history, named Coretta Scott. Anybody ever heard of Coretta Scott?
Right.
Coretta Scott later became known by her last name, which was King. She was a Spelman woman. And Coretta
That's right.
Scott, Coretta Scott married a man who was broke. He didn't have money, but she helped him because she believed in him, young sister. She believed in what the good she saw in him, and she helped bring it out. So she's known to the world today, and her children honor her memory as Mrs. Coretta Scott King, the wife of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, who didn't come into the world Martin Luther King. He didn't come into the world with a dream and a sonorous, mellifluous voice. He came into the world an average black boy that didn't have money of his own, and didn't have a whole lot of education, not yet, and didn't know that he would have a glorious future in the history of our people, but she believed in him. Find you somebody you believe in. That's just a little advice from an old man. Just a little advice from the silver cloud himself, okay?
The silver cloud.
And that's what happens in the relationship talks. You learn how to preface, how to presage, how to prepare questions for your prospective mate, and then how to answer questions when they're posed at you, right? So this comes out to be a really good thing. Jesus, you understand what I'm saying about the way to ask those questions?
Yes.
All right, good.
Very good. Very good. So look, Sister Karai, you being a vegetarian, in the section on food, diet, and travel.
Yes.
So now, what if you do meet a brother that do like a chicken wing or two every once in a while? I know that's not one of the questions, Sister Katrina, but I, because I know
that
you.
question is in there. If you could be with a meat eater and you're not a meat eater, yes.
But I specify wangs. See, not just wings. In Texas, they're wangs.
Right.
Yeah. So how do you handle that, Sister?
Well, first of all, do know that I haven't been a vegetarian my entire life, and I can throw down on meat and wangs, but hopefully the brother will be open to following how to eat to live and gradually making that shift.
That's good.
That's good. That's good. Very good. Very good. So the Muhammad family.
Yes, sir.
After the bean soup,
Yes,
I need everybody to tell me, Jesus, I need y'all to tell me what's your favorite meal after the bean soup.
What do you like?
Honestly, I don't have a personal preference. Whatever is in there, I will put into categories based on like to least like.
Mozzarella sticks.
Jesus.
Mozzarella sticks.
Mozzarella stick. What do you like, Josh?
We're vegetarian also.
Yeah,
All of us.
they've never had meat, so we've been vegetarian for the last 20-some years, so we don't even have any meat in the house. And they just bean. Wait, ask the question. He loves bean pie. He can live off bean pie.
Me too.
Yeah, bean pie. Sardine like egg. Yasha, what do you like? Well, the other night Yasha made some. What'd you make, Yasha?
Egg rolls.
She made some egg rolls, vegetarian egg rolls. So
Nice.
I'm Saraj, and I like mozzarella sticks and fries.
Wonderful.
yeah.
So going for you two, Brother Tim and Sister LaShonda. So where did y'all meet?
We met at Super Kmart.
Kmart.
Wow.
What, aisle 14? Which aisle 19?
Blue light special.
I was a single mom at the time, and I had 2 children, and they were little, and I was telling my daughter to hold on to the cart and don't let it go. And then before I could stand back up, someone said, "Hey, who cut your hair?" Because he was a barber at the time. And he told me that he would like to be my barber. And after me canceling twice with him, I finally ended up going. He talked about God all the time, never told me he was a Muslim. I was in the church heavily, and I decided to go to his Bible study. I went, it was the Nation of Islam study group, and that was it for me after that. I was sold.
Go ahead, Brother Tim. Go ahead.
Now, brother Tim. Now, brother Tim. That pickup line is not in this book. Who's your barber is not in. I'm telling you.
Hey, who cut your hair? It's not in here.
It's not. It's not in here.
Yes, sir. Sometimes it's good to have an escape clause before you even go down that road. That way,
oh, that's beautiful.
And I do think, though, that is that's a very touchy subject, you know, because we know quite a few brothers who are afraid to even go into courtship because of the fear of being rejected.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to find out if they're going to be rejected before they even enter into the courtship process.
Right.
So they may not have a cool pickup line, but they may not have an out where they can say, you know, assalamu alaikum, sister, so and so that's in line with something that would connect them. You know, they have to go through other people. And then sometimes, you know, quite often there's an issue with the brother being attracted. About 4 or 5 brothers, they're like, I want to find out. They really want to find out if that person would go into courtship before they ask them to go into courtship. But we didn't have those issues because, you know, I'm pretty secure in myself, and I'm not afraid to approach the process, and I'm not afraid of rejection. But I don't go into it with the thought of rejection. But these questions, I mean, to go through the book and ask these questions from a brother's standpoint is very, very helpful because it gives us a base by which to build on, because all we know is from the world.
That's right.
You know, go to the club, stand back on the wall, and, you know, hope somebody like you, or you got a smooth line you want, or send somebody over there. We can't do none of those things. But that's what we always have. And so you ask us to do something in a very respectful way when we're usually with the person we maybe currently with, but didn't initially start out in a very respectful way. It's a whole paradigm shift. And it's a very frightening thing for the brother.
You know, Minister Farrakhan said that a person that doesn't want to be searched has something to hide. These questions are almost like coming through a check procedure at the mosque.
Yes,
And if you're carrying a knife, a gun, you know, something, pack of cigarettes, have a joint in your hat band or something, you know, oh man, wait a minute, they searching here. Let me go back to my car.
Mm-hmm.
So part of that is that, again, that's why, you know, once Sister LaShonda began the question, then I hit on you, Brother Tim, because it's important that brothers have this conversation. We have our own class, like the sisters have their own class. But in order to build family, we've got to have the communication is probably one of the most important aspects. I know, Brother Jamil, when I do the sermons for marriage, I go into Surah 33 verses 70, 71 and talks about speak straight words. Or the Arabic kind of said to put words in their right place. So you got to put these words in the right place. Speaking straight words, I mean, that's the truth, and you could take it or let it alone. No, that's not the way to do it. But you got to put the words in the right place, and communication is key. It was like I was leaving the other day from the house, Sister Katrina, and my wife said to me, "Take your jacket." I didn't hear. And it was a bit nippy out there yesterday, even in Texas. And so we were at the baseball park watching our grandsons playing baseball. I said, man, it's cold out. She said, I told you to take your jacket. I said, I didn't hear you. So it's that old adage, that old story that goes, if a tree falls in the forest and nobody's there to hear it, did it make a sound? So communication is two-way. And the beautiful thing, Brother Tim, about you is you're a barber. Barbers, bartenders, hairdressers seem to be, they might as well be psychologists without licenses.
Right.
Because they hear everything in all walks of life.
Yes, sir.
So I'm thankful for you opening up like that, brother, and bringing your family before the world, you know, and being secure enough that, you know, because children will say the darndest things. like your children did. so let me do another quick round robin, or if you want to respond or say anything else, and then I want to do a quick round robin before we bring this to a close, because this is important, and I want our listening, viewing audience to go to Relationship Books. Can be getting the ebook, can be gotten at gumroad.com. That's gumroad.com. That's the ebook. And you can go on Amazon.com and you can get this book. Or those of you who are watching this via social media, you can inbox Brother Jamil and he'll get you an autograph copy with his autograph on it. So anyway, anything you want to say, Brother Tim, Sister LaShonda, or the children?
Me?
Yes.
Are you?
No. Okay, go ahead. No, thanks for having us on.
All right. So we want to greet you, Muhammad family. Thank you for being up with us tonight at this special night edition of Connect the Dots. You did a great job, and you're a great example of what family means. We thank you for coming on and bringing us the joy of coming into your house, and we thank you for the great honor of coming in your house. When I traveled overseas, for a person to invite you in their home and to introduce you to their family. There were some homes we went to when we traveled in Turkey where we only seen the man, and literally his wife or his daughter would put the dinner through. You would only see her hand. And then in other households, they were so proud to have us as their visitors. They lined all their children up like you have your children lined up and introduced their whole family. And that was a great honor. And we're honored that you would invite us into your home and let the world come in. Thank you. May Allah bless you with a successful and wonderful Ramadan. And may He grant you every good desire. And children, continue to strive to be good Muslims. Assalamu alaikum and Ramadan Mubarak.
Walaikum salam. Ramadan.
Oh, that was wonderful. Wonderful. All praises due to Allah. So we'll do a round robin very quickly. These last few moments that we have together. I'll start with Karai, and then I'm going to Jamil, Brother Jamil, and then Sister Katrina. Man, I don't know why I like Katrina after what I experienced in 2005. That Katrina, whoever she was, I want to leave her alone. Leave her alone. She was something. But Sister Karai,
Yes, sir.
Give us the coup d'etat, the coup de grace, and all that kind of stuff. Give us the flavor that we need to send us off at this time. What do we need to know?
So, brother, I want to look at this chapter a little bit for a second. Family and friends. Family, the cornerstone, the foundation of our nation. And in this chapter, when we talk about all the various issues that can come up with family, I mean, of course, off the top, you want to ask questions of, do you want children? How many children do you want? Do you already have children? Those are the natural, quick surface questions that are going to be there. But, I also thought about thinking about Brother Jesus. I wanted to ask his parents, would you allow him to move back in after he has gone off to college, once he's 18 years old, or what? And you have to think about that because that affects the dynamics of the family. Or, whether or not the sister mentioned that she had children beforehand, so how do you refer to them? How do you have your children refer to them? Are they stepfather? Are they my stepson, stepdaughter? Working. I come from a family where we have 2 children that are from one man and 2 from another. But my mother is the connection all the way through. The word step was never used in our home.
Right.
And in many Black families, it is not. But these days and times, you have to check that and ask those questions. So, and what type of role do your friends play in your relationship? Are they all in it? And, you know, okay, sometimes your friends can be as important, in some cases, more important than even your blood relatives in getting to know the person who you're interested in marrying. So you got to go through those questions. You got to go through them. Yeah. Good stuff in here. Good stuff.
Ooh, man, that's the hot sauce on them wings, brother Jamil.
It is.
What Sister Karai really broke down. I mean, because one of the things again is in Surah 4, when you're talking about ties of relationship.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite lines in my marriage. I say, I get audience participation. I say, y'all came all this way to see this couple get married, didn't you? Yes, sir. Y'all brought gifts and whatnot for them, right? Yes, sir. You got best wishes for them, right? Yes, sir. You want them to stay together, don't you? Yes, sir. Then stay out of their business. Stay out of their business. And a lot of times, whenever there's a problem, sometimes there's a third party.
That's right.
That is in between and talking to both of them.
Right.
Yeah. Every time a dog brings a bone, he leaves a bone. I'll just leave it like that. Brother Jamil, come on now.
Yes.
What give us the summation and the conclusion of your experience with this relationship talk and just the 2 shows that we've done together, and we're going to do more. I got to have you back.
I'll tell you what I see happening is, and it amazes me constantly how much by surprise it takes our author, Sister Katrina, because I watch her eyes go, wow. And on this program, she's in a state of wonderment and awe. In audio programs and Zooms and podcasts and Instagram lives, she's always amazed at how people are taking the book and saying they need it. She didn't know that Jesus would say, I need this book, and then we need copies of the book. She didn't know that right now in the actual podcast and Zoom and all of the other aspects, like Tracy wants to know how much the book is. I responded to Tracy there in the conversation section. And so we have all of these aspects of what it is that we're doing. This is a surprise to you, Sister Katrina, but it is a much needed water on the parched land of Black America's relationship scenario. We are in need of questions and not always smart alecky answers. Everybody's got an answer. See, well, I'll tell you what you ought to do is. See, but then you look at the person telling you what you ought to do, and he living in a cardboard box and eating ramen noodles every night. Okay? then your girlfriend is saying to you, girl, I wouldn't take that off of him. Shoot, before I take that mess off of him, I'll let him know who the boss is. But she lonely. Right. she it's her and her 14 cats. Just leave it with her. That's all she knows. See, so there's people giving advice, but the questions that you brought spoke to the humility of your heart. When you wrote this book, you were trying to find solutions, and you kept searching out the word of God. So this book contains guiding principles expressed as Quran quotes, Bible quotes, and an ample sprinkling of direct quotes from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, but not enough to run folks away and make them think you have to be a Muslim in order to read relationship talks. So I'm honored to be involved in a project, Brother Halim, that is holistic, a project that is multifaceted, a project that has something for everyone. Like Zero Mostel would have said in his scene from Something Funny Happened on the Way to the Forum, something for everyone, a carnival tonight. See, this book contains questions for everyone. There's something in it for everyone. Read it, learn it. If you've been married 30 years, 40 years, even more, read it and learn how to make the next few months of your life deeper and more fulfilling than it ever has been before. If you're a young person qualifying to marry, then learn how to do this. You know, when you go to get a driver's license, you have to study some kind of booklet. But in most states, in 50 states in America, you don't have to know anything to get a marriage license. So they want you to be sure you don't wreck a car, but when you get married, you don't know whose life you wrecking.
Right.
Because you don't know anything about the institution that you're doing. So this book is power. This for me is a mission. And I quote, as I leave you, the great words of inspiration coming to us from Elwood Blues. Elwood is Jake's brother. And as they were rolling toward Chicago, having left the orphanage in the stolen police car, Elwood reminded Jake, they can't stop us. We're on a mission from God. And that's what I say. They can't stop us. We're on a mission from God.
Wow.
Praise be to Allah.
Well, praise be to Allah, Sister Katrina. This book reminds me of this classic line from my favorite singing group, the Delphonics. It's better to have loved and lost than not to have ever loved anyone at all. I mean, sister, when you can turn tragedy into triumph, pain into power, you know, losing into a lesson.
Mm-hmm.
So, and how sometimes a setback is a setup for a comeback and a come up. This
right.
relationship talk, ladies and gentlemen, is that come up and that come back. And I strongly urge you to get this book, to go on gumroad.com. You can get the ebook, or go on amazon.com and you can get this book. I want to thank you, Sister Katrina. We're going to let you have the last word of this great panel that we had tonight. And we hope and pray that you allow us to book you again. Sister Karai she's your ample agent, and she will make sure that we book you again. But go on and close us out, Sister Katrina.
First of all, I want to say all praises are due to Allah, because brother, what you have done on your platform tonight is amazing. You showed a Black family, a married couple for over 20 years. People think we don't get married, first of all, and certainly not married for over 20 years. You showed a Black family, married couple for over 20 years that are able to look at each other with humility and say, let's read this book together so we can get even stronger and have a even better 20 more years.
Yeah.
You show a Black family that's taking this book, Relationship Talks, of which I never thought, you know, when I wrote it, that a family would be reading it, but a Black family who's sitting down one night at evening and reading this book together as a family. The husband, the wife, the mother, the father, preparing their children for courtship and understanding the science of mating. That's what you showed tonight on your platform. You have helped so many people right now, just in that image of that beautiful Black family doing something like that, not watching TV, not, you know, on the cell phones, and no, but sitting together, reading together a book that can help get a better understanding, overstanding, understanding of each other, where the children's minds are. The question I'm thinking of this evening to really bring it all together, it's in Family and Friends. It's on page 32. And the question is number 51. What are your earliest fond memories of your parents and their marriage and relationship?
Yes.
The children you showed tonight will be able to answer that question, my brother, and say that one of the fondest memories I have of my family is when my mother and father would sit down with my siblings and I and read through a list of questions to ask and prepare us to have a healthy relationship and marriage when we get older. How profound is that? That is
Beautiful.
amazing to me.
That's beautiful.
And Brother Minister Jamil is so right. I never, ever imagined that. But this is why I'm about to get emotional. Thank you, Allah. This is why Allah is the best knower. Because we might do something and have in our limited understanding of what we think it's for, but Allah knows and will put it in your mind, in your heart, and you may not see it, you may not know it, but one day Allah will show you. And tonight Allah showed me why He had me write this book, because I never ever imagined a family sitting down and reading this book, parents teaching their children how to properly court and the questions to ask. I never thought that, my brother. So I'm going to read this quote from the minister, and then I'm going to go ahead and sit down, because I need to thank Allah tonight. Tonight I'm full. I'm so full, my brother.
All praise.
The minister said, you've just got to embrace yourself with your weaknesses and your strengths. And you must know that the evolutionary development of you is to get you to overcome your weaknesses and turn into strength. And that's exactly what you just said, my brother. You said that I turned a tragedy into a triumph by writing this book. But that was Allah who did that. And the minister said these words in the Theology of Self, February the 11th, 1987. I encourage everyone to watch that lecture, The Theology of Self. It's on YouTube, and it is amazing. So I really want to
Christina from Indiana, what is your question or comment for the minister?
Yes, all praises due to Allah. Thank you so much, my brother. I love you. I would love to come back. Your platform is amazing. And obviously the RT team, we're extremely honored. And thank you so much for doing what you did tonight.
And all praise is due to Allah. And so, brothers and sisters, I would like to close, and I apologize for that interruption. You had a roll going, sister. I'm about to pass around the plate, in all honesty. That was profound. And I thank Allah that He would use me to use you to bring out what we saw today, because strong family, strong nation.
Yes.
Strong marriage is strong family.
Yes.
Without a strong family, we can't have a strong community, and we won't have a strong world. So our fight is to build families.
That's right.
So we can have a strong nation. As it's been said many times, that divorce is a threat to national security.
That's right.
So
that's right.
It is.
We're going to end this program with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Again, those of you interested in the book, go on Amazon.com. You can get Relationship Talk, a guide to meaningful conversation for couples in courtship, engagement, and marriage, by Sister Katrina Muhammad. And we want to thank all of you who tuned in and stayed up with us tonight on this special night edition of Connect the Dots, especially during Ramadan. We thank Allah for you. Go make your Isha prayer and get ready for the Ramadan prayer line, which comes on 4 o'clock in the morning Central Time. And if you have an opportunity, tune in to Connect the Dots every Wednesday, 3 p.m. Central Standard Time, KPFT, or go to kpft.org/archive, and you can hear the last 4 Connect the Dots. Again, want to thank Brother Jamil Muhammad for coming on this program, Sister Karai Muhammad for hunting me down and making sure that this did happen, and you, Sister Katrina, for making time to come on and for bearing your soul, not only on this program, but in this document.
Yes, sir.
May Allah bless you, and may He grant your every good desire, and even grant you desires you didn't even know you had in accomplishing this. And so till next time, brothers and sisters, remember this: they, them, and theirs can never overcome us, our, and we, if we will only subordinate I, me, and mine. We love you, and ain't nothing you can do about it. So until next time, may Allah bless you. We're going out with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan as I greet you all in peace. Assalamu alaikum.
Ask Mr. Farrakhan, what advice does he have for the young people of today, you know, with there being so much going on? And I'll even make reference to the Kanye West situation and what he said. What would you tell people who are confused as to, you know, when they're trying to find their own way, what can they do to help them understand, you know, what's going on today and to have their own perspective and view of things?
The first thing we have to do is seek knowledge. Knowledge is our way to free us from the chains of ignorance. So Jesus said it best, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. Jesus spoke these words 2,000 years ago. What did he know of the truth that he couldn't say then? Because he said, there are many things that I could tell you, but you can't bear it now. But when he is come, the Spirit of truth, he will guide you into all truth. This is the reason, my dear sister, that they want a cloud put over me, to veil me with hate and bigotry and anti-Semitism and homophobia and all these kinds of words, so that you won't listen and reason with the truth that's coming out of my mouth from God's man, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, that will free you. You don't need to worry about direction. You need to find your way to the truth. Listen and look for the truth that will set you free from the veil of white supremacy, from the veil of black inferiority, from the veil that covers you and makes you think you were in Africa running around with bones in your nose, running up and down trees, chasing monkeys, when you are the mother and father of all civilization. White people are great. This is their world. But where did they get the knowledge? Who gave it to them? Who were the teachers of white people? The Greek civilization. Where did they get it from? They got it from us. But if you don't know that, you will always think of yourself in inferior light because they wrote the textbooks. I was in school and I had to read about Little Black Sambo when I was a little black boy in the kindergarten. You don't need that kind of education. George Washington never told a lie. The biggest lie they ever told. We need truth today. Truth against self and for self. Because once somebody corrects us, it's our duty to fall in line with the truth that corrects our behavior. So my dear and beloved sister, you're going to be on a good path. But I'm going to tell you something. The more they talk against me, find me on YouTube. Find the truth of the message that I'm giving to the entire world. And if you see that and hear that and believe that, you're already set free.
I know we're about to go, but I cannot let you leave without me saying how much I love how you speak about the black woman and how you are focusing and telling men if they don't protect the black woman or the woman in general, that they are not a man. And I love that. I love that.
Women have to realize, and they are realizing, their extreme value. Whenever you devalue a woman, you're destroying civilization. So the Me Too movement and the movement of women all over our planet is saying that the women have had enough of the misrule of men. Because women are not the women of man. Woman is the woman of God. And God has given man a woman so that man can reproduce himself all the way down in the wheel of time. So no man should disrespect a woman. No man should mistreat a woman. No man should take from a woman what a woman does not want to give. Every man should hold ourselves responsible. Those of us who are fathers, we love our daughters, then love the daughters of your brother and not go in his house to ruin his daughter. We just got to grow up, mature.
Yes.
And these are the kind of words that will help us to see every woman as a product of God and not to call her out of her name by using the B word, which is a female dog. She's not a female dog. She's the second self of God.
Minister, we know that your
Try
time
that on.
We know.
Greetings, dear listeners. We have been blessed by Almighty God Allah over the 90 years of our work in the Nation of Islam and lifting our people up from the miserable condition in which we find ourselves. We ask your support of our effort, and we hope that you will be generous and make a contribution to the work of the Nation of Islam and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan by clicking the button below or go to noi.org/donate. We thank you in advance for your support. May Allah God continue to bless you and your families. Assalamu alaikum.